To me, the Chiefs-Chargers game is going to be just as exciting, if not even more exciting, than the Philadelphia Eagles-Cowboys game. And there's really a couple reasons for that. And if you watched my show, my prior episode, it was episode 15, when I get into AFC West predictions, I actually have the Chargers winning this division. Now, we'll get into that more, but to me, some of the biggest things that I'm going to be watching in this first regular season game for these teams is, how do the Chiefs match up against the Chargers passing offense? I don't think enough people are talking about the wide receiving core that the Chargers have. For me, I think they're quietly like the second, maybe third best wide receiving core in the NFL. Right? We talked about Pickens, we talked about CeeDee Lamb, but I love Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnston. Like Ladd McConkey, that guy's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler, potentially even become an All-Pro caliber wide receiver, in my opinion. He's fast, he's quick, he's got great hands, he's got amazing vision. His yards after the catch is just unbelievable. And then you add Keenan Allen back into the mix for the Chargers. Keenan Allen is the best route runner in the NFL, bar none. I think Davante Adams is another player that's up there, but Keenan Allen to me is extremely undervalued. I cannot believe, one, that the Chargers let him walk to begin with. I'm glad that they got him back. Like the Bears only signed him to 1 year is crazy to me. I expect a lot out of Keenan Allen. I think he's going to be a huge difference maker for this Chargers team, allowing them to move the ball down the field. And then again, Quentin Johnston. I think they don't give enough respect to Quentin Johnston. I was looking at the last couple of years. He definitely struggled his rookie year, and I think the biggest slight against Quentin Johnston is the fact that he does drop the ball at times. Right, Quentin Johnston does drop the ball at sometimes, and generally they're very easy passes that he's dropped in the past. But he doubled his production from his rookie season to his second year, which to me is just a huge indicator for someone's trajectory and whether or not they're going to be successful. Right? He had about 400 yards receiving his rookie season. He had over 700 last season. The biggest difference was really his touchdowns. Right? He had 2 his first year and he had 8 last year. I expect that to be the same thing this year because, again, when you are the opponent, right, and in this case it's the Kansas City Chiefs, how do you defend against those 3 receivers? Oh yeah, by the way, you also have this amazing new running back, Amarian Hampton, who's like a home run hitter. So I expect this passing offense to be lethal. The Chiefs have a really good secondary, and it is led by Trent McDuffie. But is that going to be enough to stop this passing offense? Because, again, they have, I think, 3 really good receivers out there. And that's going to be a huge, I think, aspect of why I like the Chargers, right? Again, they have a great run game. The biggest concern, again, is the left and right tackle situation. Rashawn Slater getting injured and then Joe Alt moving from right tackle to left tackle makes it so you're replacing essentially 2 tackles in a sense, right? You replace your left tackle, now you're replacing your right tackle by Joe Alt moving. But to me, there's going to be some question marks there. The Chiefs do have a good defense, right? I think Chris Jones and George Karlaftis are a pretty good duo when it comes to rushing the passer. So that is going to be a challenge for the Chargers, is that offensive line. But again, the biggest matchup to me is definitely the Chargers receivers against the Chiefs secondary. Now, the other aspect to this that I'm really curious to see, and this is on the Chiefs side of things, is does Travis Kelce get off to a slow start this year? So Travis Kelce, obviously household name at this point. He is probably more famous than any football player right now in the NFL, potentially now even in NFL history with his relationship with Taylor Swift. He deserves more credit than that, though. People tend to forget how good of a tight end he's been in the past. Last season he definitely had a down year. It was I don't know if it was less than what people expected because he is older, but at the same time it wasn't the production that people are used to, is what I'd say. That's probably the best way to put it. But Travis Kelce in his older age has generally gotten off to slower starts. Really the past 2 years I've noticed this the most. he's completely ready to go, and he turns it on for the playoffs. Obviously, I mean the Chiefs always make it to the Super Bowl. That's a clear, obvious, you know, that's a clear and obvious opinion and fact is the fact that they're generally always making it to the Super Bowl, and Travis Kelce is generally a huge reason for that. But like last year, I was looking at it, and he didn't reach even just I'll just say a 90-yard game until week 7, and that's actually the first game where he scored a touchdown. So you didn't see 90 yards or a touchdown from Travis Kelce last year until week 7. And without Rashee Rice out there, right? Rashee Rice is suspended for the first 6 games of the season. They're going to need Travis Kelce to be ready to go week 1. Again, they're playing against the Chargers. This is a divisional game. You know, my prediction is the Chargers are going to win this division. I said it was going to be in some weird tiebreaker. This is a part of this that could really be an aspect of that tiebreaker, right? Is if the Chargers win this game. And again, they don't have Rashee Rice. Hollywood Brown, he's coming off of an ankle injury, right? He missed a lot of the preseason. They're saying he's full practicing, but I mean, Hollywood Brown hasn't been a consistent receiver playing in most games for like 3 years. I think it really hasn't been since he was with the Baltimore Ravens that he's played in a full season. And so again, that's a huge reason why Travis Kelce can't get off to a slow start like he has generally in the past couple of years. I'm going to be looking for that, and it's going to be important for the the Chiefs' success in this game. Another important aspect is and something I'm going to be looking for in this game is, can the Chargers create a pass rush against Mahomes to create tough situations? You know, generally Mahomes has done pretty well under pressure in the past, but you know, I noticed this especially in the Super Bowl. Like he really was struggling against pressure. Right? He had like a 67 QBR in the Super Bowl, and he was just constantly getting pressed by defenders. Right? He was constantly having people in his face, people hitting him, and so again, can the Chargers create that pass rush that's going to cause urgency for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense? Because again, if they're able to put him under duress, I think that's going to be a huge factor in this game. Now, when it comes to X factors in this game, right, there's one from each side. Number one is Omarion Hampton, right? I talked about him already. You know, I'm very confident in the passing game for the Chargers. Omarion Hampton, I'm not worried about, but if this rookie running back can have a great game against the Chiefs week 1, that's going to be a huge factor in this game, right? If you aren't able to stop the pass and the run, that's perfect recipe for a win for the Chargers. And then on the other side, my X factor for the Chiefs is Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco, I love Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's a workhorse. The guy just keeps his feet moving all the time. Like that is, when I think of Isaiah Pacheco, I just think of someone that's just constantly moving his feet and trying to push the pile. You know, he'll run into people and just keep those legs going. And it's probably better than any other running back I've seen in a long time from that perspective. He's got a little bit of an old school vibe when it comes to that. And so, again, if Isaiah Pacheco is able to run the ball and to keep some of that pressure off of Patrick Mahomes, you know, I think that the Chiefs are going to have a really good chance to win this game. And, you know, when it comes to a prediction, what I'm expecting to end results to be, you know, I think this game's going to be a little bit messy. And I think it's going to be messy because they're in a very uncharted territory. They're in a completely different country, right? That does actually present a factor. Like if you watch games in London and in Germany now, they're generally pretty messy games. They're not like either one team or both teams are just struggling, especially like it's time change, it's the travel, right? Flying to Brazil, that's like an 8-9 hour flight, 10-hour flight if you're going direct from somewhere like Kansas City. LA is going to be even further, but you know that's not an easy flight to make. And you know, again, to me, I see this being a messy game, and I actually expect the Chargers to find a way to win this one out. 21-17 is my score prediction for the Chiefs-Chargers game.